What's going on, you guys? It's Rahul here, back again with another video, and today we got part 2 of every NBA team's all-time starting 5. Last episode we went over the East, so make sure you check that out if you haven't, and today we're going over the West. With that being said, make sure you drop a like if you did like the video, and there's going to be future content like this, and there's already videos like this on the channel. So with that being said, make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss that, and let's hop right into the video. Conference, we got the Los Angeles Lakers, who are also an amazing franchise, so we had to leave out some guys. But their lineup consists of Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Elgin Baylor, James Worthy, and Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, Shaq was at his peak in Los Angeles. Magic Johnson was an amazing passer and was very versatile. Kobe Bryant, well, he was Kobe Bryant. RIP to everyone on that helicopter, by the way, and the other great people we lost this year. But anyways, moving on, we're here to talk about basketball. Enough of the sad stuff. Anyways, Elgin Baylor was very good and pretty underrated, and essentially saved the Lakers franchise. And James Worthy was also really good for the Lakers. So, I mean, if I took away that rule that players could be used for more than one team, this team would probably get a little bit better. And I didn't want to put Kobe Bryant at small forward, mainly because I just didn't want to, and I just consider him more of a shooting guard. With that being said, let's move on to the other Los Angeles team, the Los Angeles Clippers. This team really gets screwed up by the rule that teams can't represent more than one team. But regardless, their lineup is Randy Smith, Ron Harper, Danny Manning, Blake Griffin, and Bob McAdoo. This is still an okay lineup, but not as good as the ones we mentioned before. Moving on to the Golden State Warriors, we got a lineup consisting of Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Rick Barry, Paul Arzon, and Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, if I wanted to, I definitely wouldn't include Kevin Durant, but of course, the rule, but whatever. This is still a very good lineup. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain was easily the most dominant player in NBA history, and had the three-point shooting of Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Rick Barry, who was a good shooter, and Paul Arzon was also pretty decent. This team could definitely give a lot of trouble with the drive and kicks, but still a really good lineup overall. Next up, we move on to the Sacramento Kings, whose team really isn't that bad. Her team consists of Tiny Archibald, Oscar Robertson, Peja Stojakovic, Chris Webber, and Jerry Lucas. Oscar Robertson, as we all know, was a triple-double machine and was a really good player. Tiny Archibald was very good. And then Chris Webber and Peja Stojakovic were also very good. We saw them play together, and Jerry Lucas was also really good. Overall, not too bad of a team. Next up, we move on to Phoenix, whose line consists of Steve Nash, Kevin Johnson, Walter Davis, Sean Marion, and Amari Stoudemire. I do feel like the team's defense would be a little bit of a problem, but it's still a pretty good team, as Steve Nash is an amazing passer, shooter, and could definitely score the ball, I guess, when needed. He didn't really shoot the ball as much as he passed, but whatever. Amari Stoudemire was a great role man. Sean Marion was a terrific defender. Walter Davis and Kevin Johnson were pretty good and part of some good 90s teams they had. Moving on to the Houston Rockets, we got a team consisting of Calvin Murphy, Calvin Murphy, James Harden, Tracy McGrady, Ralph Sampson, and Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem never really had any real stars besides Clyde Drexler, but adding guys like Calvin Murphy, James Harden, Tracy McGrady, and Ralph Sampson. I mean, Ralph Simpson, not Samson. Okay, I'm very sorry about that. Ralph Simpson, I'm very sorry, Ralph. Ralph Simpson, before the injuries screwed him up, he was a very good player. James Harden is an amazing scorer. Calvin Murphy was pretty good. And Tracy McGrady was an amazing scorer. However, he could never really get much playoff success. But with that being said, this is still a really good lineup. Moving on to the San Antonio Spurs. Their lineup consists of Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, George Gervin, Tim Duncan, and David Robinson. Tim Duncan, this team would be very good. I mean, Greg Popovich, has put a winning mentality in all of them, and almost all of these guys won championships except for poor George. Anyways, enough of that. This lineup is just really good. I don't have much to say about this lineup. Moving on, we got the Dallas Mavericks, whose lineup consists of Derek Harper, Jason Terry, Ronaldo Blackman, Mark Aguirre, and Dirk Nowitzki. Defense might be a little bit of a problem here, but hey, Dirk never really had any real stars with him, and pair him up with this lineup, it would be very good. With that being said, I don't have much else to say about this lineup, and let's move on to the Memphis Grizzlies, whose lineup consists of Mike Conley, Mike Miller, Sharif Abdul-Rahim, Zach Randolph, and Marc Gasol. Obviously, the trio of Mike Conley, Zach Randolph, and Marc Gasol were a pretty decent playoff team. However, they couldn't get to a ton of success, but add Sharif Abdul-Rahim and Mike Miller, and you got a better team. In the real NBA, this would be very good, but I don't think they're as good compared to the other teams, and I'm not sure if they could win championship, but they definitely could. Moving on to the New Orleans Pelicans, their lineup consists of Chris Paul, Drew Holiday, Jamal Mashburn, David West, and Anthony Davis. The Pelicans are not a very storied franchise, however, this is an okay lineup, as Anthony Davis finally has some real stars with him, and so does Chris Paul. Anyways, moving on to Portland, their lineup consists of Damian Lillard, Clyde Drexler, Brendan Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Bill Walton. With that being said, this is a pretty good lineup. Brendan Roy, before he got injured, was very good, and Clyde Drexler never really had the greatest teams in Portland, but add Damian Lillard, LaMarcus Aldridge, Bill Walton, and Brendan Roy, and you got a really good team. Next up, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves, who aren't a very great franchise, as their only real superstar is Kevin Garnett, but their lineup is Ricky Rubio, Sam Cassell, Wally Szczerbiak, Kevin Love, and Kevin Garnett. Unfortunately, we couldn't include Karl Anthony Towns. However, I do think Karl Anthony Towns later could definitely take up a spot on this roster. I mean, Kevin Garnett and Kevin Love finally do have stars, as in Minnesota they never had any real stars, but this lineup is still pretty alright. Next up, we got my Denver Nuggets, who aren't the most storied franchise in the world, but still have a decent team, as their lineup consists of Fat Lever, David Thompson, Alex English, Carmelo Anthony, and Dan Issel. I mean, I guess it's an alright team. Moving on to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Their lineup consists of Gary Payton, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Shawn Kemp, and Jack Sikma. I mean, Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook never had a ton of depth, but add Gary Payton, Shawn Kemp, and Jack Sikma, and you got a really good team. With that being said, I don't have a ton to say about this Oklahoma City Thunder team, besides, I mean, they could definitely cause some real problems in the NBA, in the real NBA. Next up, we got the Utah Jazz, finally, as their lineup consists of John Stockton, Pete Maravich, Andre Kirilenko, Karl Malone. I hate you, by the way, Karl Malone. He's a bad person. Anyways, Mark Eaton. John Stockton and Karl Malone could never get past Michael Jordan and the Bulls, but with this team, who knows? Maybe they could get past it. John Stockton, Andre Kirilenko, Mark Eaton, Karl Malone are all really good defenders. Pete Maravich can shoot the heck out of the ball and is an amazing scorer. John Stockton can pass the ball pretty well and is a good shooter. Karl Malone is a good scorer. And Mark Eaton was a defensive and rebounding beast. This lineup is actually pretty alright, and with that being said, that's the end of the video. Those are all the lineups, and make sure you like and subscribe as always, and comment below whose team do you think was the best, and any edits you'd make to the lineups. With that being said, that's the end of the video. I'm out.